Start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars going on the road to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a 8.5-point favorite going into this matchup. And I've been really annoyed with the analysis about this game. It seems like nobody thinks the Jaguars have any chance at beating the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at what the Jaguars did last week against the Los Angeles Chargers, right? They come back down 27-0. And all people say is, well, it was a great performance by the Jacksonville Jaguars, but the Chargers choked. I don't know if last week was a lot of people's first time watching the Jaguars play all season long, but that was not their first time coming back down multiple possessions. They did the same thing against the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys. So for people to kind of undermine the Jaguars' comeback against the LA Chargers, it kind of blows me. You look at Kansas City isn't even the best team in the AFC. They lost to both the Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. And I don't want it to seem like I'm hating on the Kansas City Chiefs, but I just feel like a lot of people are being fairly one-sided when it comes to talking about this matchup. It seems like nobody thinks that Jacksonville has any shot at winning this game. Did you watch the first game between these two teams? Jacksonville left a couple of opportunities to score on the field. They missed 2 field goals. If they would have connected on those 2 field goals, this would have been a one-possession game. Kansas City won 27-17, but the score, I promise you, was a lot closer than what the scoreboard may indicate. Jacksonville came into that game on the attack. The first play, opening kickoff, they kicked an onside freaking kick. Like Jacksonville was ready for that Kansas City Chiefs game. And in this matchup, the second go around, I expect this game to be fairly close. Now, can Jacksonville win? Is a different question. But can Jacksonville cover that plus 8.5? I have a lot of confidence that they can. You got to remember, although the Chiefs, in many people's eyes, are viewed as the best team in the AFC, this team has had some really questionable performances. Like when they had to beat Houston in overtime, they almost lost to the Tennessee Titans at home with Malik Willis at quarterback. So I am really surprised that people continue to doubt the Jacksonville Jaguars over and over again. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a very good chance at winning this game. You want to know why? Because they have the top young gun at quarterback, Trevor freaking Lawrence. Yeah, he threw 4 interceptions in the first half against the LA Chargers, but it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And he finished strong and he led his team to the victory, and that's what you want to see out of your franchise quarterback. And I've been telling people this all season long, that Trevor Lawrence is Andrew Luck-esque. You remember them early Indianapolis Colts teams when they had Andrew Luck really early into his career? As long as they surrounded him with a decent roster and a solid supporting cast, he was able to take Indianapolis pretty far in the postseason. They even went to the AFC Conference Championship game. That's when they had the infamous Deflategate game. So if Trevor Lawrence comes into this game and he only has 1 interception and he has an outstanding performance, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have an opportunity to win this game. This is a team that is mainly driven by the performance of their young quarterback. And when Trevor Lawrence plays good, 9 times out of 10, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be in a tightly contested ball game. And I've yet to see a game where Trevor Lawrence has played well and Jacksonville has been flat out blown out. Not to mention, Trevor Lawrence has a really good supporting cast. You got Travis Etienne, 20 carries, 109 rushing yards, over 5 yards per attempt against the Chargers. Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones. He has a really good group of receivers, tight ends to get the football out to. The Kansas City Chiefs, their defense has been really good. As a matter of fact, this may be one of the best defenses that Andy Reid has ever had during his time being the head coach of the Chiefs. This defense is really good at getting pressure on the quarterback. They're second in the NFL in sacks per game. Their secondary is I think that if this pass rush isn't able to get home on Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence is allowed time to throw the football, I think this Chiefs secondary is going to get carved up. But their run defense is pretty exceptional. This defense against the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be a really interesting matchup. The Jacksonville Jaguars have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, quietly. Nobody really thinks about it. Nobody really talks about how good this offensive line has been in pass protection and run blocking. So against that defensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs and that pass rush led by Chris Jones, that's going to be a really intriguing matchup. Jacksonville defensively is way better than what a lot of people are giving them credit for. People keep looking at the damn stats. Stop looking at the freaking stats and watch these damn games. Over the last month, the Jaguars defense has low-key won them a couple of games. Did you think the Jaguars offense came back by themselves? They just scored all the points. Somebody had to hold the Chargers to 3 second half points. Who did it? Who came up with 2 big takeaways to win the division against the Tennessee Titans? Who came up with the walk-off pick 6 against the Dallas Cowboys to win the game for the Jags at home in overtime? So this is a team that defensively, when you look at the stats, the statistics don't show how good this defense has actually played over the last month. The stats just showed you how good the defense has been over the course of the whole entire season, including first and second half. What you need to do is look at how good this Jacksonville defense has been the last 4 weeks. It's been outstanding. Yeah, you may not have a lot of elite pieces on the defense, but you do have a defense that is able to come up with big stops and big moments. This defense has rose to the occasion several times this year. You're going against a team in Kansas City that, yeah, this offense has been one of the best in the NFL, but they have had a tendency to come out flat. Same way Jacksonville has a tendency offensively to come out slow. It's just that for Kansas City, you have Patrick Mahomes, and when you come out slow, you don't have 4 interceptions out of him, unlike Trevor Lawrence. But I think for the Jaguars starting slow, it's more of them being a young team, trying to get into the flow of the game. Sometimes they get into these big games, and it takes them a while to get locked in. Meanwhile, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs on the other hand. This is a team that just, at times, they can be a little bit careless with the football. And it's not a Patrick Mahomes issue. It's just an overall team issue. And you saw what happened last week when the Bills played the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins were a several-point underdog. They were a 14.5-point underdog going into that game. Buffalo was up 17-0. After that, the turnover bug strikes. And then we see the Dolphins and the Bills in a dogfight. A game that nobody expected to be close ended up being close because of the Bills having a quarterback that's super reckless with the football. And in the playoffs, one thing that you cannot do when you are the more talented team is turn the football over. Because when you're playing against a team that has a capable quarterback like a Trevor Lawrence, if you turn the football over, they can make you pay. This was a Jaguars team that the last time they played, they didn't force too many turnovers, but they did get an interception on Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes has been fantastic this season. 41 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. He's thrown for 5,250 yards. He is the unanimous MVP, the runaway MVP. But he does have a tendency to give you some opportunities to come away with turnovers just because his playing style. He's a risk taker. He's a gambler at times. This is somebody that, look at all of the crazy throws that he makes. I saw one play against the Denver Broncos. I think it was the first time they played. It looked like he was about to get tackled for a loss, or he ends up breaking out of the sack. He runs out of the pocket. It looks like he's about to run the football. He ends up flipping it to the last minute to number 1. And I'm just like, bro, how the hell did you make that play? So Patrick Mahomes, he does a lot of fantastic things. He'll make a lot of OMG throws. He'll have a lot of WTF moments. but he'll also have some moments that make you go, Patrick, what were you doing? And those are the moments that can keep Jacksonville in this game. Now, the Chiefs defense is really good at stopping the run. Travis Etienne, I think, has been a really underrated part of this Jaguars offense. Not when it comes to Jags fans, but when it comes to the national media, we don't really talk about him all that much. So, for Travis Etienne, if he gets slowed down in this game, and the Jags have to rely on Trevor Lawrence to win this game with his arm, I don't think it matters all that much. The Jags, to win this game, they got to win it with Trevor Lawrence anyway, so if they have to win it being one-dimensional, I don't really think it matters all that much. At the end of the day, when it comes to beating Kansas City, you have to be able to outplay Patrick Mahomes, or you at least need your quarterback to play as good as Mahomes or up to an elite level to beat Patrick Mahomes, especially in the playoffs. No team in the playoffs is beating Patrick Mahomes from a subpar performance from their quarterback. If you want to beat Patrick Mahomes, you need your quarterback to play as good as him or rise up to the level as him. If Jacksonville has success running the football, that's cool. But at the end of the day, this game is still going to come down to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence and how he performs in this game is going to dramatically impact if the Jaguars can not only keep this game close, but if they can win. It's really tough to win on the road in Arrowhead. They're 7-2 at home this season. They're one of the best teams in the NFL when it comes to being able to take care of business in the postseason. So for Jacksonville, you're a young team. You haven't been here before. Well, you've been here before, but you haven't been here before, if that makes sense. Yes, you've been on the road in Arrowhead, and you've had a really competitive game against them, regardless of what the final score shows. You know, that game was a little bit closer than what some may think. And if the ball would have bounced in Jacksonville's favor on a couple of possessions, they potentially might have been able to win that game. You're going against Patrick Mahomes, who in the fourth quarter isn't that great at taking care of the football. He has 6 interceptions and 6 touchdowns in the fourth quarter of games. For Jacksonville, you keep this game close in the fourth quarter, you feel really good about your chances of winning this thing. I'm still taking the Chiefs to win, but I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars to cover. The reason why I don't think Jacksonville is going to be able to win this game, I don't think they have enough yet. I think they're 2 or 3 pieces away from being able to beat a team like Kansas City in the postseason. I think that they're missing an elite deep threat at wide receiver. Yes, they have a good group of receivers, but they don't have anybody who can take the top off the defense. You still need Trayvon Walker to become what you envision him becoming when you drafted him number 1 overall in the draft last year. And I think you probably could use a little bit more help at cornerback. Okay, the cornerback play hasn't been bad from Jacksonville, but at the same time, I feel it could be a little bit better when you're trying to slow down the offense. Like a Kansas City, you would love to have an elite shutdown level corner. I'm taking the Chiefs to win, but I do think the Jacksonville Jaguars will cover. I think this game is going to end up being 31-28 Kansas City.